very much in our, because Donald Trump has never served in office before, which is one reason I think he got elected. We have no idea how his comments on the campaign are really going to be fleshed out in terms of policies. So I think we are just going to have to wait and see on that one.
How difficult is that unwavering commitment to NATO going to be if we see closer ties between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin in Russia?
Well, I think that's an issue that that'll have to be addressed and that will have to be dealt with. And also I think it'll be very important to reinforce, for the administration to reinforce the commitment to Article 5 of NATO, which was called into question, I think, somewhat in this campaign. So again, that will depend on the...
A lot of talk about how this election has in many ways been a referendum on trade and globalization, and those are the voters you mentioned earlier who feel like they've been left behind. In light of that, and we have seen protests here in Europe as well against the CETA deal, for example, and against TTIP, the proposed deal between Europe and the U.S., does it make sense to push forward with these types of deals?
Well, I think it does, because ultimately that is very much in the interest of both the American people and European citizens. I think that we need to, in pushing forward, that both governments and those who support these agreements need to do a much better job of explaining to the public why they are important and why they can help people. But what they also need to do is recognize that there has been a tremendous dislocating effect from and the technology revolution. And you can't push forward a big trade agreement without at the same time recognizing and trying to deal with, from a policy standpoint, those who have really been left behind in this concept of globalization. Of globalization. In the dynamic of globalization. And I think if you start doing that, and if you're a little more transparent in terms of talking exactly about what the agreement is going to be about and what it will not be about, then hopefully they can move forward and do this and make some real progress on it. But it's very much in both Europe and America's interest to have a transatlantic agreement of some sort or another.
All right, Ambassador Emerson, I know you have a very busy schedule. We're going to have to let you go, but thank you so much for joining us this morning with your insight.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, and thank you very much for having me.
All right, it looks like we're going to head over now to Christopher, who's going to take us a little further on our coverage.
That's right. We are going to give you an idea of what the current state of play in the U.S. election is. Polling stations have closed all over the country, and this is how it looks. As you can see, a lot of red, not that much blue. Red for Republican, blue for Democrat. Donald Trump has picked up major battleground states, including Florida, Ohio, and North Carolina. Let's have a look at Florida for you, which we're going to bring up in just a second. I understand we have Pennsylvania, which we're going to show you, which has just been called for Donald Trump. 20 electors, the votes are always counted, and Donald Trump with a very slim victory, 48.9% over Hillary Clinton's 47.6%. That's a hugely important victory for Donald Trump. In terms of the Electoral College, no, we don't. College, we have. We're going to go to Washington.